Relax, I can relax. Thank you for coming. So I want to, I did hand out something, and the promise tonight was that we're going to do something a little bit experiential. E-S-P-E-R-I-N-T-A-L-I-L-L-Y. But in order to do that, I want to build a base with you. I want to start talking together. And anyway, I use texts, which is what we have in front of us. And the English is also a translation of a text. Text is a very amazing thing. A Torah text is like an oracle. It speaks to you. Sometimes more, sometimes less, but it's your job it's our job to allow ourselves to enter into a text. In a sense, a text is an amazing thing. You know, the author thought of things, experienced things, thought of them, and then translated those thoughts into words on a piece of paper. The piece of paper or the piece of parchment upon which they were written becomes almost like a cemetery for the thoughts that now become embedded in physical matter, but they're dead. But when we read them and we revive them from the dead and we resurrect them from the page and they go into us and they become meaningful ideas, so we're connected not just to the page, we're connected to the person whose thoughts were committed onto this page. It's an incredible way of looking at it. So let's take that, to its maximum, that we want to connect with the souls of those great teachers who really, the reason they wrote and why they put so much of their soul into their writing was because they knew that as the generations would go down, that people would be less and less connected, and they wouldn't even know what was flying in terms of spiritual wisdom, spiritual experience. So they committed these things to writing in order to preserve them so that we could then again revive them, even in a generation that had nothing. It just so happens we're in a generation where it's very interesting. We're at a marketplace generation. A marketplace generation is where ideas are flying. When you can get ideas from India, you get ideas from all over the world. And so in a marketplace, Judaism is largely not understood. Our vendor in the marketplace is sitting down snoozing. And like, wait, what's going on here? You got amazing stuff there. There's trunks of stuff there. Let's bring it out. He says, nobody wants to listen to these things. It's all old. Are you kidding? Don't you know that the marketplace now, that old is good? Okay, so, but we do have what to say, right? Like a lot of different systems, religious and spiritual systems, are speaking about our time as a very powerful time. I'm not an expert on any of the other systems anymore. I used to be many years ago in college, and even then wasn't an expert. But of course, I learned a lot of systems, and they're all talking about how our time is special. So, but what does Judaism say? Right? And most Jews don't know. It's like incredible. What are the rabbis teaching? The vendor is sleeping, or he's in the back room talking to his friends about things that are very important, but the people who are outside who are mulling around are not having access to those teachings. Something is right. So we come into the scene. Who are we? We're the generation of people who seek. Right? We're the seeking generation. And we've thought, and we've gone places, and the world is now an information center, and there's a lot of stuff going around. So when we come to Judaism and we ask, what's going on, Rabbi? Back in the 70s, if you had asked a rabbi if there's reincarnation, he would have said, oh, no, we don't believe in these things. For one of two reasons. One, he even believed it, he was ignorant. Or two, I can't tell him that or her that. This is classified information. But then when people come back from the East in the 80s and the 90s and come back say, hey, reincarnation is a real thing, bless you. So you got to bring out the real teachings. You have to get out of ignorance into propagating proper knowledge. Because if you're not going to do it, then somebody who knows less than you is going to do it, and they're going to distort the information, and you've created a real balagan. You know what a balagan is? What's the translation of balagan?
The owner.
A mess. A confusing situation is a balagan. So right information is needed to come into the vacuum here to fill things. Who am I? I'm just somebody who liked what I learned. I had some great teachers. Over the last 35 years, I was privileged to learn with some really amazing teachers who made texts come alive so that I could reconnect with the experiences that were behind the text. Because I wasn't as interested in knowledge as I was in being. Because if your knowledge level gets too much ahead of your being level, right, it's not healthy. That's why people sometimes leave off from academia and they go and they want to have experiences, bike riding through Europe or whatever, you know. Dude, see the world. Because you got to get some balance here of what the world is. And then you can then appreciate. Or if you're in school for a long time, but then you leave, when you come back, it's no longer just, oh, I have to read this book. But wow, now I have enough life experience that when I read a book, I interact with it. It's real. It's meaningful to me. So that's basically where I'm coming from, is this text is something to allow us to come into a deeper understanding of our lives. So let's read the first text. It's a little bit hot in here. I don't know if we have any control over that. Maybe it's because I'm the closest to the heat.
Open the window. Let me see if I can open the window.
Okay.
No, open the window.
Or maybe it's also I get hot when I teach. My body warms up, my spine starts to go through all kinds
Oren,
of
is
things.
this open the window? Yeah, you're hot. You want me to try
A little hot. What can we do?
Yeah, I can open the window.
Okay. Not so much that it'll be, that anybody will get cold, but a little bit of a...
You're going to sit outside, you sit outside.
Man of extremes. Thank you. Sorry about it. So Rabbi Chaim Vital, Shari Kedusha 3:5. So Shari Kedusha, Chaim Vital. Chaim Vital is an amazing character, an amazing man, born in Damascus.
On the lock? No lock?
Around 1530s. Right. This is during the time that in Europe there's an Inquisition going on. That's after the expulsion from Spain, but the Inquisition is still spreading throughout Europe. The Jews are not a liked people, but there's incredible activity among the Chachamim, among the learners and the teachers of Judaism. There are a lot of dreams recorded during that time, a lot of psychic activity. Chaim Vital was an amazing character, and his teacher was the Ari. I'm sure you've heard of the Ari, Rabbi Yitzhak Luria. The Ari was born in Yerushalayim in 1535. At the age of 7, his father passed away. His mother took him down to Egypt, and he then lived in Egypt for a number of years, and basically by the time he was 12 and 13, he was learning with the leader of Egyptian Jewry, because none of the other teachers could be on par with him. And so they recognized him as a child prodigy, an incredible soul, a soul who came into this lifetime with knowledge and who then immediately understood things. So the Ari had, to the extent that the Ari lived in a hut by the Nile River for a number of years and had what's called Gilui Eliyahu. Elijah the prophet. Elijah the prophet, we have a tradition, comes to different people, sometimes in physical form, sometimes in the form of an inner teacher. Whatever the case may be, this is official in terms of Jewish historicity, in Jewish history, that the Ari was considered one of the greatest teachers because he claimed, and